Hi, welcome to this module. Here we're going to talk about one of the shadow topics that lives in our culture, and it definitely plays a role in our entrepreneurial journey, and that is the blizzard of money. So few topics can paralyze or shut people down faster than the topic of money. And when we think about money in our business, we often think about financing. Where am I going to get the money to run my business? And that's a totally legitimate thought, and it absolutely needs to be covered, and it will be later on in this course. But when we are talking about emotional winter, when we are talking about blizzards, it is the money mindset that we dive into, because if we don't understand what money's role is in our life and in our values, it's really hard for us to build a business. So what is money mindset? Money mindset is a way to describe your beliefs and your attitudes about money. And it comes from our childhood, of course. It comes from where we learned about money to begin with. And so I want to ask you, what do you think about money? What did you hear your parents talking about? On this next slide, we have a couple of statements, and these are very common statements that many people hear growing up with their families. So maybe you heard, money brings trouble, or money doesn't grow on trees, money doesn't buy you happiness. People like us don't get ahead in the world. Rich people are greedy, selfish, and soulless. Did you hear other sentences about money growing up? What our parents felt and the words that they used to describe money might very well be rooted in their own fears and their own worries. But it doesn't mean those worries and those fears were true for you, or even for them, really. So you have to decide what money means for you, because you are now a grown-up, you are making money, you are spending money, and so you have to understand your relationship with money. And you might think that money is just like the currency, but it actually is a little bit different, because money is energy, right? And when you give energy through your business or through the things that you provide other people, they give you back energy in the form of money, right? But think about a time in which you help somebody, right? So maybe you helped a neighbor move a sofa into their apartment, or maybe you drove someone to a doctor's appointment because they couldn't get there. And they might have offered to pay you money, or they might have made you a cake, or they might have given you a card. They gave you something back because it's the exchange that has energy. Money is really the tool to which we recognize an exchange is happening. So we don't need to be afraid of money, but when we do have money mindset issues, it can absolutely wreak havoc in our businesses and in our lives, because some of the money blocks that we have from childhood actually sabotage us from running our business. And you might wonder how that might be, but think about it. What if you were afraid to spend money to invest in a coach or some new software, or to rent a space to run your business? You would be prevented from moving your business forward because you didn't want to make the investment because you were afraid to spend the money. But if I spend the money, I might not make more, right? So you sit in that place of fear and you hoard the money you have and you aren't spending it. So you're not allowing the flow of energy to happen. It could also be that you don't take risks with putting yourself out there, spending money on advertising, buying online digital ads, or investing in a graphic designer to create a package for you, right? So it prevents you from taking risks. They are risks, of course, but they're calculated risks, right? And they should be based in your belief of the return on your investment, right? But it can still stop you from moving forward in creating the things you need to run your business. It might also prevent you from either charging money in the first place, where you feel that you need to give it all away. You need to constantly help your friends, with their nutrition plans, or help create, beautiful crafty things for their house, or teach them how to use QuickBooks, or whatever it is you often get called on from your friends and family to do. You don't want to charge them. And so then you build up this feeling like, well, if I can't charge my friends and family, I shouldn't be charging other people, because really I should just help them too. So it builds this momentum of your inability to charge for your expertise, right? It could also show up, which is often the case, when you want to raise your prices. So say, for example, you put yourself out there and you charge this amount for this service, and you start getting more and more people involved. You don't have any more time, and you need to raise your prices, because you obviously are being able to do things faster with more expertise, and you're more in demand, which really should drive your prices up. And you just feel very uncomfortable, like, oh my gosh, I'm not worth that new price. Nobody's gonna pay me for that. If I charge $50 more, everyone's gonna run away. They're gonna call me greedy. They're gonna say that I'm just trying to take my more than my fair share. That's a money mindset block, right? So when we have these blizzards running around in our head, money becomes this very taboo subject where we don't put our prices on our websites. We aren't upfront with how much we charge. If somebody says, wow, that's a lot, we don't say it is a lot because I bring this many years of experience and I have this many, client lists behind me telling me I've done a great job. You think, oh, yeah, I actually am overcharging. Oh, I'm not worth that. I don't deserve that. Oh my gosh, you're right. And your inner critic is waiting to just destroy you because you have money mindset issues, right? You have fear around your ability to charge what your expertise and your abilities say that you're worth. So we need to unpack this a little bit. And so on this slide, I really want to hear from you about what your beliefs are on money and what your relationship to money is. Do you believe that it just comes to you easily? Money falls from the sky. Whenever you need it, it shows up. That's amazing. And that is a gift for sure. Many people don't feel that. Many people feel like there's never enough. They're going to run out. Maybe they have run out, right? Maybe their spending is significantly more than their revenue at this point, and there's an imbalance. So now they're afraid. They're afraid to spend money. Perhaps they bought something that they really didn't need or it didn't give them the return on investment. Maybe they invested in a coach that didn't really deliver on the results. Or maybe, we invested in hardware or software or, structural things for our business and it just hasn't paid off yet because we haven't given it enough time. There's endless reasons why money hasn't necessarily brought us more money. But the first thing we need to understand is really, what is that relationship with money? What do we believe about it and what do we understand it for our business? And can we, at the end of the day, say, I am worth X amount of dollars and this is what I want to charge because I believe I have the solution that people want. And for that solution, they need to pay money for the money that I have spent developing the expertise, getting the education, practicing, reading books, taking courses, learning online, speaking with other professionals, understanding my industry by going to conferences. All of that investment is what you bring your clients. So you might bring them the final product, but it didn't fall from the sky. You had to earn it and you had to work for it and you had to pay for it. And so they are really getting the results of all of your own personal investment, and that deserves to be paid. So please finish this exercise. I really want you to start digging in to your money mindset and understanding where your blocks might be, and then how you can reframe it a little to say, okay, I have this block. Now I get to do something about it. And we will talk about that when we get to spring. But right now we're going to talk about the second biggest blizzard-inducing storm cause that there is for entrepreneurs. And that is imposter syndrome. I will see you in the next video.